Everyone has a favourite Oliver Stone movie, whether it's Platoon or Natural Born Killers, Wall Street or even JFK. But for my money, his finest hour was a movie called Talk Radio, starring Eric Bogosian, who also wrote the screenplay. So Talk Radio was based on the play of the same name, also written by Eric Bogosian, who's the lead actor in the film. And what can I say about this one? Well, for starters, I think that if anyone out there is an aspiring low-budget filmmaker, then this is basically a textbook example of perfect low-budget filmmaking. Very few characters, predominantly shot on the one location, which is a talk radio studio. And it's quite like anthology television in a sense, in that it does take place in one or two locations. Very simple story, though it's very complex in its own way, and very clever dialogue. So Talk Radio is about a guy called Barry Champlain, who is a shock jock, a talk radio host in Texas. And he runs a program called Night Talk. And Night Talk's one of those witching hour sort of talk shows. One of the ones that's listened to by all the late night freaks out there, called into by all the late night freaks. So more of an indication of the time the film was made than nowadays, of course, because talk radio is not as popular as it once was with the advent of podcasts and so forth. But nevertheless, the whole plot of the movie is that Barry Champlain is a very successful local shock jock in Texas, and he's about to go national. And the movie follows almost, you could describe it as the implosion of Barry Champlain, as everything sort of comes to a head around him. So as I said, Talk Radio is it's a textbook example of guerrilla film 101. It takes place mainly in the one location, which is the radio studio. Eric Bogosian is great as Barry Champlain. And it's sort of criminal in a way that Eric Bogosian didn't become a bigger actor than he did. He's sort of been languishing as a character actor all these years. And certainly he's gotten a lot of work over the years, but in my opinion, he hasn't had the respect that he really deserves. And if you watch Talk Radio, you'll really find a new appreciation for Eric Bogosian and his ability as an actor, as an ad-libber, and not just that, but also as a theatre writer, screenwriter, because this was his baby. Talk Radio was based on the Eric Bogosian play of Talk Radio, was based on a book called, I believe, Talk to Death, about a real shock jock called Dave Berg, who was shot by an angry listener. And that gives you a bit of an idea of what to expect from this film. So, amazing dialogue, an amazing small cast of characters, a really cool little small movie. One of those perfect little movies that's really well structured, really well conceived, well executed. As I said, I think that it is Oliver Stone's finest hour. I know a lot of people like Platoon, a lot of people like Wall Street, a lot of people like Natural Born Killers, Salvador, JFK. The list goes on. Oliver Stone isn't everyone's cup of tea. He can be quite a polarising figure. I get that his politics can grind on people and so forth, but as I get a lot older, I kind of appreciate all different viewpoints, wherever they're coming from on the political spectrum, and there's a lot to be said for people that stick to their convictions, whether you agree with them or not. and people that come with receipts for their convictions. And Oliver Stone is one of those filmmakers. He's never really compromised at all, and Talk Radio is yet another example of that. So really cool little movie, cool little claustrophobic movie. Some amazing dialogue. I always think of this one alongside John Avildsen's Joe from 1970. When I think of great little movies with great dialogue, there's a lot of very cool scenes in Talk Radio, a lot of cool monologues, as you'd expect from a film about a shock jock or a talk radio host. And this one's held up pretty well. I last saw it a few years back, so I might be blurry on a few things, but I remember it holding up very well and still being really solid, still being very prescient, and I'd assume that it still is today. I guess if they ever remade this one, they'd call it Podcasts, and it'd be about a renegade podcaster, and that could be an interesting theme for screenwriter Eric Bogosian to explore if he ever decided to, a follow-up based around podcasting. I think I'd enjoy seeing Barry Champlain in that podcasting format, the long-form format, having an existential crisis with a guest who disagrees with him on just about every subject could be an interesting film. But I digress. For those of you who do enjoy Oliver Stone's movies, if you haven't seen Talk Radio, it is definitely one worth hunting down, especially if you did enjoy films like JFK or Platoon or Wall Street, Natural Born Killers. If you have any thoughts on Talk Radio, whether you liked it or you hated it, any memories about Talk Radio, by all means let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying this content, you're more than welcome to like, share and subscribe. And that's about all I have to really say about Talk Radio. It's one of those perfect little movies. Very self-contained. Virtually a single location or two. Great character actors. And it really does feel like a theatrical production caught on film. And it has that immediacy of theatre. And truly quite unique. They don't really make too many movies like that anymore. It wasn't really viable at the time. It was a flop, from what I understand. It lost money. I don't think it's ever really regained any of the money lost over the years, so it's worth giving this one some love and looking for it on streaming services as a rental, or picking up a physical media copy if you can. So yeah, that's Talk Radio, written by Eric Bogosian, who stars in the movie, directed by Oliver Stone, and a pretty timeless film, and I'd highly recommend that you check it out. So until next time, see you later.